December 7th, 1941, is a day that will live in infamy. This is not going to be a history lesson or a flag-waving event. I want to talk to you about power. Think about it for a minute. If Roosevelt had said something like, "Hey dude, yesterday was a bad day," would we recall it like we do? I think not. We would still remember Pearl Harbor, but we would not remember Roosevelt's response to it. Just about, I would think everybody in the room remembers 9/11. How many of you remember what the president said in response to it? Maybe some of you. To be honest, I don't. How many of you will remember what the president said in response to it in 69 years? There is power in words and speech. As you go from your icebreaker through the manual and beyond, remember this: the right word at the right time to the right person is more powerful than you can imagine. Now, some people think that the longer you speak, the smarter you are, or the better you speak. And for those that might be considering that, I would ask you to remember these three numbers: 2, 7, and 16. It took 2 minutes for Lincoln to deliver the Gettysburg Address. It took 7 minutes for Roosevelt to give his response to Pearl Harbor. And it took 16 minutes for Dr. Martin Luther King to give his great "I Have a Dream" speech. I'd like to share a personal story with you about something wonderful that happened to me that was, I guess, lucky in relation to power speech. About 7 years ago, I got a call in the morning, and the voice at the other end said, "Hey coach, I'm in Waterford today, and I was hoping we could get a few minutes together." I said, "Great, Rick, let's have coffee." He said, "How'd you know it was me?" I said, "You're the only person in the world that still calls me coach." So we went for coffee, and Rick showed up, a very muscular, 6'1", standing straight, 48 years old. We sat down to have coffee. And like you probably would if you're having coffee with somebody, casual talk. You know, what happened to so-and-so, talking about kids that I taught, that he went to school with and coached, that kind of thing. And then he reached across the table and grabbed both my arms. And he looked me square in the eye and he said, "Listen to me, I have something important to tell you." He said, "You didn't know it, but when I was in high school, my dad never came to my games. He was in the bars. You encouraged me. You told me I had talent and ability. I took that to heart and worked on it. And I became all-league and all-conference in football and track. And I have a black belt in karate and a very successful business. You were like a father to me. Your words changed my life." What's that worth? What's that worth? To be able to change somebody's life for the better. Change is difficult. Real difficult. If change wasn't difficult, none of us would be overweight. We'll all be in great shape, and maybe even save some of our paycheck. I'd like to talk to you a minute about power and change and how it relates to speech. My favorite definition of power I get from Anthony Robbins. He says, power is the ability to act. But listen to what he says in addition to that. He says, if you want to be in control of your life, if you'd like to be the most eloquent, effective model for those you care about, you have to become a persuader. Persuasion may be the most effective tool in creating change. Now you might be saying to yourself, I have no intention of being president of the United States. I don't want to be an athletic coach. I don't plan to be a general in the military. Excuse me. But you may want to do some of these things. You may want to convince your boss that the best way to do the next project is the way you'd like to see it done. You may be able to persuade that significant other in your life not to leave. You may be able to influence somebody you love to give up drugs. And you may be able to encourage someone you care about to attempt great things. Remember this? The right word, at the right time, to the right person, is power beyond your imagination. As individuals, what we can accomplish is huge. But if we have the ability to lead and inspire others, what we can accomplish dwarfs what we can do alone. So as you prepare and as you grow in Toastmasters, don't underestimate the importance of the commitment that you've made to become a better speaker. And remember, the right word, at the right time, to the right person, is power.